this is Sahar Kioni, and in this video I'm going to be telling you some very practical points about placing some gate valves, the strainers, as well as the air vents. So be sure to be with me throughout this video. As you can see over here, we've got an air handling unit, and along the path of one of the pipes that is connected to it, we have a gate valve, as well as a strainer. And as we get closer to the equipment, we find an air vent and a drain. So what we're going to be doing now is that we're going to try to place those gates onto a pipe in the Revit drawing area. Now before we start, if you've already got a file in which the unit has been demonstrated that you can use, you could just draw using that file. But at this moment, I'm going to try to open a whole new template to draw the whole thing on there and tell you the points. So I'm going to click on this new button. Then in this next window, I'm going to click on Browse. And then I'm going to go over to the English Imperial folder. Then select the Metric Mechanical Default Template, then click Open. Next, we're going to click OK here. And then wait for the template to load so that we could draw into it. Now before we draw, first we're going to have to readjust some settings in regards to the pipes and their fittings. So we're going to go over to the Systems tab and then click on the Pipe command, or we could just use its shortcut PI. Now in this template right here, we have two pipe types, one of which is named Standard and the other is Chilled Water. Now the pipe that we want to define is going to be a welded one, just a carbon steel welded pipe. So I'm just going to select the standard for now, then click on Edit Type, and then I'm going to duplicate this type, and then I'm going to name this new one Carbon Steel Welded. Then click OK. Now we're going to have to define its fittings, so we're going to click on Edit, which will then open this new window where we could define the fittings that we need. First, we've got this pipe segment. So let's open its drop down, and if we look through the available families, we can see we have this carbon steel schedule 40. So we're going to select it. So basically the pipe segments or sizes are going to be adapted to this standard. Next, we're going to have to load a welded family. So we're going to click on Load Family, and we're going to have to use one of the Australian fittings. Now where do we find those Australian ones? You could just go to your browser and look up Revit, followed by the version you have installed. For example, mine is 2024, so it goes Revit 2024 content, and the first result you'll get is the Autodesk website. So you're going to go in it, and then you will see this content table, which you can also see that it says Australia. So you could just download and install it. Now after installing them, you could go to where your files have been saved, which would be Driver C, the Program Data folder, then Autodesk, then RVT, the version you have installed. For example, right now I'm in the RVT 2025 folder, then Libraries, English, and Australia here. Now next we're going to have to go over to the Pipe folder, then Fittings, and then we can find all sorts of fittings in this folder. For example, I'm going to open this carbon steel, which contains the fittings that we need, which are butt welded. Now which ones do we want to use? Let me move this window a little bit out of the way so we could see both windows. I'm going to be needing the elbow, so I'm going to hold the Control key and then select the elbow family here. After that, we need the T-junction type, so we're going to go over here and select this T-branch reduced. Next, we also need a cross, so we're going to select it here. And after that, we need a transition, for which here we have reducer concentric and reducer eccentric. So we're just going to select both of them. Then there is union, for which we don't have any families here, so we're going to skip it. And for flange, we're going to need to go to another folder. And finally, for cap, select this cap and click Open. Now after we've loaded the families, we're going to have to place them in the right places. Open the elbow drop down, select butt welded elbow. The junction type, we want it to be T, and for its family, we're going to select this T branch reduced butt welded. There is also another junction type that we're going to be needing, which is called a tap, for creating direct branches from pipes. So let's go load that too. Click on Load Family, and then we're going to go into that Australian pipe fittings folder, go into Fittings, and then we can find a folder called Generic. Now in generic, we're going to select branch takeoff and then click open. Okay, now let's go over here. For T, we selected this family, and now we are going to click on this green plus sign to add another row to the junctions. Now once again, we're going to open this drop down, then select the branch takeoff that we've just loaded. Now you can see the preferred junction type is T, so the T family is on. But if we change it to tap, then that'll enable the tap family. Only let's not forget to select all for minimum size, so that all sizes will be included. Now what about the cross? Once again, we select cross but welded. Then we have transition, for which once again we're going to select the but welded family. And we didn't load any families for the union, so we're going to keep it as it is. But as for the branch, we're going to click on load family again. And this time we're going to go into the Imperial folder. Then we're going to go into the pipe folder. Then fittings. And then we're going to go into the steel flanges where the flanges are located in different classes. For example, I'm just going to open class 300 where we can see different types of flanges. I'm just going to select the second one and then click open to load its family into Revit. Now we're going to go into the flange section, open the drop down and select that flange family. But as for the minimum size, keep it on none for now because we're going to enable it later. For cap, let's also select cap welded, then click OK. And then this message that we get is about the minimum size of this flange, which we've kept on none. You can also see it says that it's set to none, but we're going to ignore it and click OK here. Now let's go draw a pipe. For example, I'm going to draw one with a diameter of 2 inches with system type hydronic supply. And in the next step, we're going to have to specify its elevation. Now, if you've already placed your unit, you could just connect this pipe to that. But since we don't have anything around here, I'm just going to draw at a random elevation. Click and click. Also, I'm going to set the detail level on fine and the display style on shaded so that we could see the pipe better. Now, next I'm going to try to place the air vent. If you remember, under that we also had a drain. And now we're going to have to download the families for those two. So I'm just going to go over to the BIM object website. And in the website, I'm going to search automatic air vent. And then I could, for example, download this family from the results. And once again, I'm going to go to the BIM object website to search gate valve. And then, for example, I could download this family and use it in Revit. Now, actually, I've already downloaded those families. And all I need to do is load them first. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab, Load Family, and I have downloaded them in the desktop. So I'm going to hold the Control key and select them together, and then click Open to load them. Now they also seem to be coming from different versions, so they are upgrading to my current version, which is 2025. Now it is best that we try to place those two items in section. So first I'm going to create a section along this pipe that we've placed. Let me also bring this border down, right click on the section, and go to view. We also set the detail level on fine and display on shaded, and I'm going to also stretch the section from the bottom. We've drawn it a little too high, so I'm going to bring it down. But the elevation doesn't really matter to us because we don't have a structural architectural file. Now I'm going to get the pipe command again, PI, then I'm going to make a click on the pipe, and after clicking I'm going to change the diameter to 3/4 of an inch. And then draw a pipe upwards. This in fact is that tap family that we chose. Now let's draw another one of it downwards to make for the drain. And you might notice that once you click on the pipe in section, the diameter changes back. So let's change it to 3/4 again. Then draw downwards, click and press escape. Now we're going to go to the Systems tab. Then we're going to click on Pipe Accessory. And then we can see the air vent with size 3/4. But also, if we open this drop down, we could see some more sizes. But we're just going to use this 3/4 and click on this pipe and place the vent. But also here's the thing that it also placed a transition for us automatically from the size 3/4 of an inch to 101/128. You see, although in the family's name it says the size is 3/4, but the size of its connector is the one that's different. So while we're at it, we're going to click on Edit Type and see if we can fix that. Click on Edit Type. And then here you can see the parameters nominal radius and nominal diameter, which are the ones that we need to edit. Now, I'm guessing that this family was a family that was modeled in metric units, and now it only has inch in its name. So maybe that's the reason why we got a transition. Now I'm going to change the nominal diameter's value to 3/4 of an inch, then click OK. And now as you can see, the transition is gone, and now the vent fits the pipe. Let's also reposition it a little bit lower. Now let's go place that other valve by going over to the Systems tab and again clicking on Pipe Accessory. Then we're going to open this drop down and then look through that gate valve sizes and select the 3/4. Now we're going to go over here and click on the pipe to place it. Now as you can see, the same thing happens again where we got an extra transition and the pipe needs to be a little longer for that transition to have room, but since it's not long enough, it seems like the transition is overlapping, resulting in this opposite direction error. We're just going to cancel that, then make the pipe longer, and then we're going to get the pipe accessory again by using its shortcut PA. Now let's go click on the pipe to see what happens. Do you see how we get the transition now? So we're going to select the valve, edit type, and then here we're going to see if we have the nominal diameter parameter. Looks like we have this end connection dia. Let's click on its value and make it 3/4 of an inch. Then click OK to see if it'll work. And yes, it did. So if you didn't know which parameter you need to edit, you could just check that out by going into the family space. Now I'm going to also bring this valve a little higher. And as for this end of the pipe, if we want to make it just like the video that we saw, we're going to have to remove it. So by far we have drawn this part. Let's go back to the plan. And for the rest of our work, we're going to be using some flanges. So I'm going to get the pipe command by using its shortcut PI. Then click on Edit Type, Edit Fittings. And from this point on out, we're going to want to place flanges. So we're going to make sure we can use all sizes. Click OK and OK. Now once again, we're going to have to load the gate valve and the strainer families. So we're going to go to the Insert tab, Load Family. Then I'm going to go into the Imperial folder and then into Pipe, and finally Accessories. Now as you can see here, we have this family Y strainer, which comes in sizes 1/4 of an inch up to 4 inches. So I'm going to select this one. But also at the end of its name, it says that it is threaded, but the one we need is actually this flanged one. So we're going to switch to that. Now we're going to click Open. Now let's go to the Systems tab, click on Pipe Accessory, and now we have the last thing we loaded with size 2 inches. And then we're going to click on the pipe here to place it. Now you see, the thing that happens is that because we've chosen a flanged family, Revit doesn't identify it that way when placed. And just like the previous items that we've placed here and here, we get some extra flanges. So I'm going to hit Ctrl Z, and now I'm going to use the pipe command to draw another pipe, PI, and with diameter 2 inches. And now click and click. Now we go to the Systems tab, Pipe Accessory, and then click on this new pipe to place the strainer on it, and we also get the flanges again. Now I'm going to select the strainer, then flip it by clicking on here, and then I'm going to also rotate it to have this neck be facing downwards. Now let's also load that gate valve again. Going to the Insert tab, Load Family, then I'm going to go back a folder, and this time go to the Valves folder, and finally into Gate Valves. Then I'm going to select this gate valve family, and then click Open to load it. Now I'm going to go to the Systems tab, and then select Pipe Accessory, and then I'm going to click on this new pipe again to place the gate valve with diameter 2 inches. Now according to that clip we saw earlier, we didn't have these flanges, so I'm just going to select and delete them, and then I'm going to select this gate valve and drag it and connect it to the strainer. Also, to make sure that they're connected, I'm just going to select this and try to move it around and see that the whole thing moves along. Now what do we do about this first one? This pipe right here, which was also very long. For this one, we're going to go to the Systems tab and select Pipe Fitting. And then we have the last family that we loaded here, which was just a flange. And then click over here to connect this flange to the end of the pipe. Also, I'm going to delete this second flange and only keep one of them. Now I'm going to reposition this and bring it closer to that air vent that we placed earlier. So it's going to be somewhere around here. Alright, now as for this upper pipe, we're going to delete this end as well as this flange. Now I'm going to also select these items to move them a little to the right, and then I'm going to get the align command AL to align the axis of both of these pipes together, and then I'm going to drag the strainer by its end and connect it to the flange for this pipe. Now let's go take a look at them in 3D. We're going to also set the detail level on fine and the display style on shaded so we can see them better. And this is what we've got now. Thank you for being with me throughout this video, and if you'd like to learn more about placing the hydronic pipes from A to Z and also in a project-oriented manner, you can go ahead and get the full tutorial package over at the Udemy website.